Good morning, good morning, and what a beautiful morning it is. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and a really dishonest, sketchy, schemy journalist has lost his job. Mark Stefano, hi. Letting everyone know today was my last day at the Financial Times. This afternoon I offered my resignation. Thank you everyone who has given support. I'm now going to take some time away and log off. I offered my resignation, also known as I jumped before I was pushed. And I absolutely could not help myself. I had to say down the bottom, oh, hi Mark. I was wondering if you would like to answer a few questions about your IRL demonetization for an article I'm doing. For anyone that is not in the know, the reason that my main channel is absolutely demonetized no matter what I upload, even if I upload just a video of my dogs playing with no tags, no nothing else, even that gets demonetized. And the reason for that is because Mark Stefano lied about me to YouTube, calling me far right, and then wrote an article calling me far right. YouTube did what it usually does whenever it's faced with any kind of issue. They give the absolutely incorrect and wrong response and decided to just demonetize my whole channel, and it's been that way for 2 years. Oh, they still let me keep my super chats though. You know, they won't let me make money from ads, but they still want a third of my super chats. But for anyone that doesn't know this whole story, Mark Stefano worked for BuzzFeed for many years. He was a schemy, lying, typical like left-wing journalist. Not really a journalist, more of an activist with access to a fucking computer. And he likes to deplatform, demonetize people that he deems as far right, which in his eyes is everyone to the right of Chairman Mao. Right? He's one of those types, your standard types that we've all had to deal with since Gamergate. But in January, he managed to get himself upgraded from BuzzFeed to a big boy newspaper, the Financial Times, but he was only there for 3 months before he gets suspended pending an investigation because he was accessing other companies' Zoom meetings, taking the information and live tweeting all the information out while he was in the meeting. He made some boo-boos. He joined the meeting using his Financial Times work email, showing his full name to everyone, and then live tweeting the information, and basically he doxed himself, and then all of it got traced back to his phone. He got absolutely fucked. He was caught. He gets suspended pending an investigation, and obviously just now he is resigned, also known as jumping before you are pushed. Now, a bunch of stuff has come to light in the aftermath of Mark Stefano's downfall. Journalists who we've interacted with in the past, like me and other people that are on the YouTube sphere, like some of the journalists we like, some of them we don't like, but a lot of them from the like and don't like category have given us a little bit of insider info on the stuff that really happened with Mark Stefano, and I find that really funny that even the journalists that don't like us decided to give us information, and it's almost like, because this is the thing about Mark, a lot of journalists are fucking angry at him, like really angry. He's got a lot of journalists supporting him in the replies to this tweet, but he's got a lot of journalists fucking ragging on him for what he did. And I think it's funny that some of the journalists have just went, you know what, throw him to the shitlords. Do you know what, fuck him. Throw him to the hounds. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Oh, fucking, but... So that's what happened, and what we've gathered, again, this is just information that was given to us, take it with a pinch of salt, is that Mark Stefano is absolutely burned in journalism, like UK journalism at least, as in basically none of the major papers are going to take him, none of the major papers are going to touch him, purely because of the phone hacking scandal that the UK had, and there's a lot of publications calling this a hack. And anytime basically the UK phone hacking scandal, so many big newspapers get absolutely dragged through the coals for that, and it absolutely destroyed their reputation, sometimes completely destroyed them. So anytime a major newspaper is involved with anything that has the word hack in it, they fucking panic and freak out. So apparently a lot of people at the Financial Times were saying to the higher-ups, get him out. Get him the fuck out. He could have cost all of us our jobs. So a lot of people at the Financial Times were really fucking furious at Mark and wanted him gone. and we've also heard he's probably completely burned in UK journalism, and some people are saying that apparently he plans to move back to Australia because he knows that. He knows that he's burned in UK media, but apparently he's going to move back to Australia and see if he can get a job in the media there, except there are journalists from Australia that I've spoken to who've said, oh, don't worry, we're going to make sure that they all know what he did. He probably will get rehired by BuzzFeed. He'll probably have to go back to BuzzFeed because, you know, that type of behaviour is tolerated there. But also in the aftermath, many things have actually come to light. Many things have actually come to light. More things about Mark Stefano's shady past. Hannah Bayman. She is a BBC journalist. Yes, research and journalist, BBC News. 2 years ago, Mark Stefano infiltrated a private chat of BBC women staff members, ordinary workers, not execs or editors, and published their conversations along with a string of inaccuracies. Never called anyone to verify or give right of reply. It's not journalism. 2 years ago, so it turns out that Mark Stefano has been doing this for a very long time. Turns out he has been spying on people in rival companies and rival journalists for quite a while. And this is the funny thing is that these are just the times where he's been caught. I mean, 2 years ago, I mean, he's probably been doing this for the whole 2 years. These are just the times that we know about. So how long has he been doing this for, and how many times has he been doing it? Spying on people, rival publications, no less. You know, a little bit of corporate espionage never hurt anyone. Important. But I think it's quite funny because it's almost like, have you ever had to see, because he spent so long at BuzzFeed, I think I've said it before, he believes that this is what journalism is. You spy on people and you're deceitful and all that. I know that journalists are supposed to get the big scoop, but I mean, they're supposed to have some fucking ethics in how they get it. Like, why are you spying on just ordinary workers? Are you that desperate for a story that the personal information of just ordinary employees, like, is that how you want to make your paycheck, Mark? Fucking hell. Sorry, it's early and I'm just having my breakfast of coffee and 10 cigarettes. But, I mean, Mark was at BuzzFeed for a while and obviously was brought up to think that this is what journalism is. And, like, it's almost like you can't stay mad at him. It's almost like, you get a person that was brought up in a really, really abusive household, and then when they're older, they turn into a complete arsehole that's very angry and snappy all the time, and you just think to yourself, like, you can't really blame them for it. It's just the way they were raised. It's like, is that how we're meant to feel about Mark? He doesn't know any better. He thinks he was brought up to think that that's what journalism is. But yeah. So in regards to that, Mark has resigned. He jumped before he was pushed. Apparently someone in the Financial Times tipped him off, like, you are getting sacked. So Mark ran upstairs and handed his letter of resignation in. He is apparently, this is all according to information given to us by other journalists, so do with that what you will. He's apparently been completely burned in UK journalism. Nowhere's going to touch him now, and apparently he's moving back to Australia to try and get in there. But journalists there are apparently already telling their editors, don't fucking hire him because he'll completely fuck us over. So that's where we're at so far. Now, a few other things have come to light. Wasn't it really weird that for the longest time, Mark Stefano was able to just sort of click his fingers and get people demonetized or deplatformed from YouTube, right? We found it really, really weird. How did this one little journalist have so much power? And we kind of thought that it was the implied, threat of the mob. Hi there, you have this fascist Nazi on your platform. I don't have any evidence that a fascist Nazi. You're just going to have to trust me and believe me. And I want to know why you have them on the platform and why they're making money on your platform. Our very, very angry, loud and vocal readers would sure be upset to hear that you're harbouring a Nazi on your platform, like that type of shit, right? Now, we thought it was that. We thought it was the implied threat of the mob, which a lot of journalists do. But it turns out that it might not be that. It turns out that the person that Mark Stefano was talking to could support the mob. could be politically aligned with the mob, could be in favour of the mob. Because we've seen this. Mark Stefano's resignation tweet. Ben McOwen Wilson. Best of luck, Mark. I look forward to the next chapter. Now, that is someone that obviously supports Mark's work, even when it is corporate espionage, apparently. Obviously supports Mark's work, and is obviously on friendly terms with Mark. I mean, they obviously seem to have quite a friendly relationship, right? This Ben McOwen Wilson also retweeted this. Alex Wickham, fucking, you know, everybody knows who that is, political editor at the BuzzFeed, you know, so therefore, absolute serpent. Glad there is so much support already for Mark, who is a superb reporter and one of the best, most decent people I know. I mean, if you think spying on private employees is a decent, then yeah, of course you work at BuzzFeed. This is an absolutely ridiculous and appalling outcome. I mean, I thought firing would have been pretty normal, you know, for spying on a rival company and possibly destroying the company that you work for. I mean, I find that reasonable, but alright. A good and experienced editor stands by their reporter. Well, everywhere is not BuzzFeed, Alex. Some people actually don't not just tolerate, but encourage absolutely shitty behaviour. You know, a lot of publications out there don't encourage you to spy on the employees of rival companies. That's a good and experienced editor stands by the reporter. Well, what's the bar for that, Alex? Would Stefano literally need to fucking shank someone at a press conference for you to finally disavow? Right? But yeah, this tweet was retweeted by Ben McOwen Wilson. Now, who is Ben McOwen Wilson? The person that obviously seems to have a little bit of a friendly relationship with Mark Stefano. He's the managing director for YouTube UK. Everything makes so much sense now. Everything makes so much sense. I mean, I cannot believe it. I actually can't believe it. Like, that friendly tweet and retweeting BuzzFeed going, it's absolutely terrible that you were fired. I mean, Ben, I hope Ben just simply isn't aware of what Stefano did, right? I hope it's a case of that, like, oh, you're fired? That's absolutely terrible. Why were you fired again? Like I hope it's a case of that. I hope that's what it is, because if Ben knows what Stefano did and Ben is, like, saying, oh, that's terrible, then... yikes. fucking yikes. Especially coming from the managing director of YouTube UK. Now, here's the funny thing, right, about Ben McOwen Wilson. Now, follows are not endorsements, right? Follows are not endorsements. There's people that you can follow that you don't endorse. You know, I follow a bunch of, I follow some far left people. I follow people like Richard Spencer and all that. So follows are not endorsements. But there is a way from someone's following that you can tell what their political leaning is. Now, most people that have an interest in politics, everybody always follows, like, the big dogs in the parties. So, for example, everyone will follow Jeremy Corbyn, Diane Abbott, Boris Johnson, maybe even fucking Gerard Batten and all that as well. If you have an interest in politics, then you follow all of the big dogs from all of the parties. Like that, everybody does that. But there is a way that you can tell a person's political leaning from their followers, right? They'll all obviously follow all the big dogs from all the parties. But then they will also follow a lot of minor people from the party that they support, right? Because that's what I did, basically. When I was in UKIP, I followed all the big dogs, but then I also followed a shit ton of minor people for UKIP. And I've noticed this with other people that try and give you shit for the political party you support, and then you go, oh, what party do you support? And then they go, I'm not telling you, because they know that their party has a bunch of things that you can attack them for. They just want to be able to attack you for your affiliation. They don't want to give you any ammo to attack them. I mean, that's pretty funny, because they know their party's shit. They just don't want to tell you. So basically, you can go into their following list, and basically you'll see that they'll follow the big dogs and all the minor people from the party that they support. So that's a giveaway. And it turns out that Ben McOwen Wilson follows an absolute shit ton of Labour Party members. Like, he follows a bunch of journalists and all that as well, but like that's an absolute nothing burger. Like, he's the managing director for YouTube UK. Of course, he interacts with a lot of journalists. Again, follows are not endorsements. He obviously talks to them a lot. He's obviously the person that they all reach out to for comments. So like that's normal. So I'm not bothered about that. Right. So you've got like a bunch of like usual stuff. You know, like fucking newspapers, media outlets, all that type of stuff. BBC was in there. New Statesman, like. Of course he follows them. Like, these are people he interacts with. Sebastian Payne, Financial Times. You're following Sebastian. I hope Sebastian knows that you're okay. That you think it's absolutely terrible that someone get fired for spying on him. Fucking hell. Right, so you've got all this in here. Right, and obviously he follows YouTubers and all that as well. But there's Labour. Daily Mail again. Labour. There's a lot more Labour in here. Labour. Yeah. Oh, Labour. The Guardian. Yeah, but again, I've got he follows. There was somebody for the Daily Mail in it earlier, you know. So the journalism part, you know, him following journalists and publications doesn't suggest anything. But there's a lot of Labour in here. Like, Michael Gove obviously follows, like, the big boys, but, you know, he's not following Priti Patel. Obviously, she's a big boy. She's a big woman. I actually really, really like Priti Patel. Alex Wickham, political editor for BuzzFeed, pro spying on people. So basically, you've got all of these Labour ones in here, which, you know, very little else from Conservatives apart from the big dogs. So that's how you know. That's how you know. And now, as I was going through this list, I found a few strange things. Like, for example, Toby Young. He follows Toby Young, which I found really, really strange because, as it says here, he is a General Secretary of the Free Speech Union, the one that apparently I was supposed to join, but he has ignored all of my contacts. And I've actually heard from excuse me. I've actually heard from a few people that he doesn't want me in it. Because he made a few statements on TV when he was talking about his Free Speech Union, where he says, oh, like, you know, we support free speech, blah, 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 but while you're in the union, you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't do this. And I was like, Toby, it's not how free speech works, Toby. So, yeah, I mean, if it's a free speech union that you're not permitted to say what you like in, then it's not a free speech union. Like, I wish him the best of luck. I definitely hope that he is able to, you know, achieve and secure further free speech throughout the UK and throughout the online platforms. I genuinely, absolutely do hope that he is able to achieve that. But it's not exactly a great foundation that you've built it on. So then as we go down, there was a few other interesting people that we had in here. Labour. Big Bojo. Big man Bojo. Brexit. Oven ready. Got the Rona. Kicked the Rona. Had a baby. Come at me, bro. Blah, 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 blah. Just so everybody knows, Omid Jalili, one of the first people I ever fucking blocked on Twitter. For anyone that doesn't know who that is, he's the guy from the Mummy movie with the fez and the scarab crawls into his skin and goes into his brain and kills him. That's him. He was back when Nazi Pug first kicked off. He was one of my first ever screechers. You know, he's a stand-up comedian that basically makes jokes about terrorism and all that type of stuff. He was one of those "it's okay when I do it" like type guys. But he was in my mentions fucking perpetually, like obsessively, like to the point like. Usually it's fun to like meme on people and stuff like that, but I was going into like whenever you're verified on Twitter, you get the standard notifications that everybody else gets, but then you get your little special verified section, and just my verified section was just fucking filled with him. That man, to the point where it was really annoying. I was actually missing stuff. I was missing stuff like from other verified people that were tweeting at me because he was just crying in my mentions fucking constantly. Oh, Jess Phillips, MP. Wow, they follow each other. That's interesting. I mean, I do wonder if they've been in DMs to each other in regards to a certain chuckling Englishman. I do wonder. I find it, gets the noggin jogging. I do wonder if Ben McOwen Wilson and Jess Phillips have had a little chat about a certain Applebee's manager. Might explain why a certain bearded chunky boy, a bit like myself, kindred spirits, got all of his monetization taken away. I do wonder, but here's the one that I wanted to show you. Becca Lewis. Oh, there she is. For anyone that doesn't know, Becca Lewis is the person that created that online right-wing network bullshit that contained such a, definitely absolutely far-right people like Chris Reagan and Jeff Holiday and Dave Rubin and all shit, like, stupid, absolute fucking dumb. Like, see when it first got released, everyone was memeing on it and making fun of it and fucking just laughing their fucking head off at her over how fucking stupid that piece of fucking data was, right? It was absolute trash garbage, right? But unfortunately, a lot of online platforms who are pure like that. I'm left wing as fuck. Does this disparage the right and give us an excuse to go against them? I don't need data. I don't need facts, right? Give me that shit and let's just base our community standards model on it. Yeah, fucking idiocy, right? But Ben McOwen Wilson, the managing director for YouTube UK, follows Becca, and Becca follows him, which means, again, they've probably been in the DMs to each other, right? And given the fact that a lot of right-wing people, I keep calling myself right-wing, even though technically I'm not, right? But it's just the easiest descriptor to use, right, to describe our little clique on YouTube. How we all constantly get hit, we all constantly get strikes. Like, I got a strike for the Nazi pug video, even though it's not even on my fucking channel anymore and hasn't been for years, right? I got a fucking strike for that. And he's sitting there like he's following Becca Lewis, he's following fucking, he's following, and then he's sitting tweeting out praise for Mark Stefano, the person who fucking demonetizes people by lying about them and getting them deplatformed through lies, right? Ben McOwen Wilson, it just all makes so much sense now. I mean, I just love the fact that all the skeletons are coming out the closet and questions are now being answered. I mean, how was Mark Stefano able to do what he did? We now know. We now know why it is so difficult for all of us to see any growth or get videos monetized. It's because we have learned the political persuasion and, where the support of a particular person is going. Ben McOwen Wilson, the managing director for YouTube UK. He supports these people, and he's obviously on friendly terms with these people. All of it now makes so much sense. I mean, this doesn't change a thing. We are all still going to get absolutely fucked. We are all still going to get treated differently, Equality, but right-wingers, no, treat them differently. Equality for everyone, except right-wingers. Right, so we are on our own little special rule book for YouTube. You get people like the Paul brothers who can dance around corpses in the woods and upload fucking thumbnails with just straight up asses and sexual positions and women in lingerie, or people that can fucking beat their kids or fucking say things like, Glass Israel and all that, and they get monetized. They're absolutely fine. They get promoted. But people like us, if we so much as fucking fart, we get a fucking strike. And it all makes sense now as to why. Like, it doesn't change it. It's still going to happen nonetheless. I mean, if I reach out to Ben and say, Ben, I would absolutely love to have a chat about the current state of YouTube. Would you like to hear some feedback from a certain clique of YouTube? Just because we want your company to do well, Ben, and we would like to give you some feedback. Ben's going to go, you're right wing, go fuck yourself, we don't care, fuck off, get off our platform. Like, take the fucking hint, go away, smelly right wingers. Like, fucking, like, again, knowing all this stuff isn't going to change anything. We are all fucked regardless. It's just nice to know who's behind it.